Hey, what's going on, y'all? Now, this is the Elam, the dark history of it. We're going to talk about the Persians, and I'm going to give y'all part two. So let me get set up and hit this off real quick. I'm going to go with the education and let's see. I'm going to go nonprofit, little activism. Yeah. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do my tape. Just give out information. So let's see right here. There's one viewer. Okay. Ancient man and his civilizations, Elam 2. The first one is about the Persians. I'm going to go back for a minute and explain Elam for a minute. The modern Iran, you got the skulls and everything. I'm going to skim through all the other stuff. I told you about this website, right? And you talk about the cities and ceremonies and things like that. We talk about the Elamite god figure, and I've done this before. I mentioned it in my pre-records, but this is the introduction of it. So, okay, the Elamite king 1200 BCE, Elamite god of Ishushnek, lord of Susa, 2300 BCE, 1400 BCE, the Elamite king holding the goat. Yeah, that's Elam. And we're going to go with number 2, the Assyrians. Okay, we're going to read this. Okay, the Assyrian scripture from the Wikipedia. The Assyrian scripture is the scripture of the ancient Assyrian state, especially the Neo-Assyrian Empire of 911 to 612 BCE, which ruled modern Iraq, Syria, and much of Iran. And some people call it Iran or Iraq, Iraq, or wherever they want to call it. But informs of the phase of the art of Mesopotamia, differing particular because of its much greater use of stone and gypsum alabaster for a large structure. Much the best known works are the huge of a Lamusu, guarding the entranceway, and the Assyrian palace reliefs on thin slabs of the alabaster, which were originally painted at the least in the paint and fixed on the wall around it in the main rooms of the palaces. Most of these are museums in Europe or America. Following a hectic period of evacuations from 1842 to 1855, which took Assyrian's art from being almost completely unknown to being the subject of several best-selling books, limited and political cartoons. Remembering that the current non-Black people of Egypt and the surrounding countries have no direct connection to those ancient cultures. They are for the most part Turks and Turk mulattoes. Yeah, that's been discussed. Y'all can see that. And we're going to skip right there. This is what they do when they get angry, when the ruling elites of their own kind who use Black art as tourist draw. The palace release contains scenes in low relief, which glorify the king and showing him at war, hunting, fulfilling over the roles, many works. Yeah. And said to have been disturbingly destroyed. Yeah. We ain't gonna get into that. The ISIS and all that. That's a little controversial. Let's go to the middle of Elamite period. Let's see right here. I know people is watching right now. Okay, good for y'all. Good for y'all. It's coming in. I know people is in and out. I don't really care. Oh God, look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Okay, I'm gonna let it drop for a minute, and then I'm gonna charge it because, yeah. Now for that, we're gonna hold on for a minute and get my shit set up. Hold on. We're gonna get this reading out the way. It's 8:09 now, because at 9:05 will be an hour. So we got 9:05 coming. So we got a whole 8. It's 8:09 right now Eastern time, y'all. So we're here. Elam's got, I believe, 7. We're gonna stick with the Elamite culture. It's gonna be like a 2-hour. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm watching the draft at the same time. He's from Oklahoma. Okay, that's who they want to pick. Interesting. Let's get back to this. After 2 centuries for which sources reveal nothing, the Middle Elamite period opened with the rise of the power of the Anzanite Anzanite dynasty. In their homeland probably lay in the mountains northeast of Kushistan. Political expansion under the fourth king of this line of Kuma Bananumania in 1285 BCE. Proceeding along in success were commemorated by his assumption of the title, the expander of the empire. Commemorated, yeah. Independent, right here, his dependent made of pale blue Chaldini carved with picture depicting the Elamite king of Shishak in Shishnek, presenting his daughter Bar-Ui. But cuneiform text on the right reads I Shishak in Shunshak, enlarged of the kingdom. This is Jasper from the land of Pirlish the first took. What I painstakingly made, I place here in the bar of Uri. My beloved daughter, I gave it. Yeah. And here's the Elamite gold work right here. So we're going with Elam right here. He was succeeded by his son Untashgal and the contemporary of Salmanaser I of Assyria in 1274 BCE. Untash founded the city of Dur-Untash, the modern Ka Zambili. In the years immediately following Untashgal, Elam increased found itself in a real or potential conflict with the rising power of Assyria. Tuki Ninchira, the first of Assyria, 1244 BCE, campaigned in the mountains of north of Elam. The Elamites under the Kidin Kutran, the second king after the Untashgal, countered with a successful, devastating raid on Babylonia. In the end, however, Assyrians' power seems to have been too great. Assyrian king Tukulti Nintria managed to expand Assyrian control well into the Elamite territory. King and Kidin Kutran faded into the obscurity, and the Anzanite dynasty came to an end. After a short period of the dynastic troubles, the second half of the Middle Elamite period opened with the reign of King Shustruk Nahuntu, 1160 BCE. Two equally powerful, two less impressive kings following the founder of the new dynasty. Their capital was probably Susa. In this period, Elam became one of the greatest military powers of the Middle East, they would say. It's not saying the Middle East, it's all part of one continent. All the way to India, it's all in one. I think Khalid Muhammad confirmed that. Yeah. Don't let them fool you. Some people call it the Middle East. There's no such thing as that. It's still part of the same desert. But don't get it twisted, But, that's his opinion when he wrote that. Okay. And the door was open from when the Assyrians and Tukuli Nintria died about 1208 BCE. And the Assyrians fell into the period of an internal weakness and dynastic conflict. Elam was quick to take advantage of this situation by campaigning extensively in the Diyala River area into the very heart of Mesopotamia. Shustrek Nahuntu captured the Babylon and carried off to Susa to steal, on which was inscribed to the famous law code of Hammurabi. Yeah, code of Hammurabi, and Shishak in Shushnak. Yeah, in Shishnak, brother and successor of the Shustrek Nahuntu's eldest son. Kahutri Nahuntu, still anxious to take advantage of the Assyrian weakness, campaigned as far forth north, the area of Kirkuk. The palace of Ashurban deported the people of Elamite city of Din Shari, 645 BC. Here's the picture of it, y'all. Um, in Babylonia, however, the second dynasty of Isin led a native revolt against the Elamites, and the Elamite power in the central Mesopotamia was eventually broken. Elamite military empire began to shrink rapidly. Nebuchadnezzar I of Babylon, 1124 BCE, attacked Elam and was just barely beaten off. A second Babylonian attack succeeded. However, and the whole of Elam was apparently overrun in the ending in the middle Elamite period. The place of Ashurbanipal, Napal, deporting the people of Elamite city of Din Shari in I would say 645 BCE, right here. And this is another picture of it right here. They're getting departed. And I'm going to go up here. You see right here. So this is vital. Neo-Elamite period. The Assyrian king Ashurbanipal or something like that. Yeah, he's a popular Elamite little symbolism. A long period of darkness separates the middle and the Neo-Elamite periods. In 742 BCE, a certain Huban Nushkash is mentioned as king in Elam. The land appeared to have been divided into separate principalities. With the central power fairly weak, the next 100 years witnessed the constant attempts of the Elamites, usually in the alliance with Babylon, to thwart the constant pressure of Assyrian expansion. At times, they were successful with this policy, both militarily, diplomatically, but on the whole, they were forced to give away the increasing Assyrian power. Local Elamite dynastic troubles were from time to time compounded by both Assyrian and the Babylonian interference. Uh, interference, my fault, interference. All in a while, the Assyrian army whittled away at the Elamite power and influence in Luristan, in Luristan. In the time, then the internal and external pressures resulted in the near total collapse of the meaningful central authority in Elam. In a series of campaigns between 692 and 639 BCE, in an effort to clean up a political and diplomatic mess that had become a chronic headache for the Assyrians, the Ashurbanipal's army utterly destroyed Susa, pulling down the buildings, looting, and sowing the land of Elam with salt, the pillar of salt, like they said in scripture. 665 BCE, scenes depicting the aftermath of the Battle of Tila Tuba in Elam. Here we go. Right here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Yeah. I know people is not focused, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about this. I know people are gonna be in late. This is Thursday night. It's my time. In complete limestone wall panel relief, Elamites are shown in the upper register, and prisoners being flayed alive are shown in the second registry. Prisoners being tortured in front of ambassadors are shown in the third registry. A row of guards form the fourth registered chariot. And chariot and spar horses from the fifth registered chariots, and soldiers marching along the river yearly, in which floated bodies of men and horses and chariots in the sixth register, and the relief bearers cuneiform. Who do they pick? Who do they pick? I want to see who they pick. Hold on, y'all. Oh, they picked this guy as the first overall pick. What's his name? Wow. So they do it on TV. Yeah. Oh, they talking to old boy. They talking about trades. The draft hadn't even started. Okay, cool. And this is, yeah, I'm showing you all the pictures. Damn. Battling Elamites in the banks of the river Uli in the aftermath of Ashur Penon's victory over the Elamites on the bank of the river. Damn, they killed them. Pure torture. Cut them down. Archaeologist Austin Henry's Laylard's 1894 description of the scene depicting the aftermath of the Battle of Tili Tuba on the opposite side of the lion entrance were also three slabs, but better preserved and then those I have just described. They form a part of the same subject. Same subject. Um, Same subject, which had inevitably being carried around the fourth walls of the chamber. They represent the triumph of the Assyrian king, and like the battle scenes were divided by horizontal lines and several bands or frizzies. But the monarch stood in his chariot, surrounding his body, his bodyguard. Unfortunately, his face with those with the charioteer and you, the eunuch, the the eunuch bearing the parcel or Enoch, the eunuch. Okay, the eunuch bearing the parasol and had been purposely defaced, like the Sennacherib chariot on his moments. Probably when the united armies of Medes, with the Medes and Babylonians, destroyed the palace. But the royal robes were profusely adorned with rosettes and fringes. The eunuchs were dressed, though the Enochs or something like, Enochs. Yeah, Enochs, my fault. Enochs was dressed in the chariot and garnet and resembled the Scottish plaid. In front of the chariot were two warriors or guards embroidered in robes and greaves. Their long hair was bounded by a fillet whose tasseled ends fell loose and behind. They were preceded by two remarkable figures by both Enochs and probably intended for the portraits of the some well-known officers of the royal household. One was the old and corpulent, and his forehead was high and ample. His nose curved and small, and his chin round and double. The wrinkles of the brow and the shaggy eyebrows and the bloated cheeks and with the stubbled beard, peculiar to beginnings of his class, were very faithfully represented. His short hair was tied with the fillet. His companion was younger and not the same the marked features, and he carried before he a squared object resembling a closed box or that. Oh God, I'm looking at the wrong area. ABC pick. Oh God, I'm missing it. Ah, hold on, y'all. I'm missing it. Shit, I'm missing it. Hold on. I'm listening to this bullshit right here. Who's the first pick? I didn't, and they over here screaming and blah blah, giggling and over here doing this shit. My fault, y'all. Let me get to the real shit. Ah, missing it. Yeah. Okay. What they got this for? Yeah, I was on NBA TV. I forgot it was on ABC. My fault. I missed the first three. Now I made it to the fourth pick. Good, good. So they picked, oh boy. Who's first pick? So, okay, next is Orlando. Sorry, y'all. I was looking at the draft. Okay, Ebon Mobley. He's a modern day big. Jalen's wilding now. Okay. Yeah. So the Equinox books carry tablet. He's younger. He signed up his offices both wore plum plaids. Okay. Above the royal chariot of the rose trees, beneath the processions of the mace bearers and led horses, ride the Carpathians and lower compartment. Yeah, compartment contained a curious ground in the plan, the city, and the play. Yeah. Hold on. Curious around the place. In the position between two rivers and well agreed, the extension, existing ruins and generally above the police and marked sites. But the smallest streams would be the Shapar and the larger of the Euclid or river of Disfol. But the city was surrounded by the wall of the equestrians, towers, and gateways. But the houses were flooded, roofed on. Some had one tower or upper chamber, and others of two. But they had no windows, and their doors were square. Outside of the walls were groves of the palms and other trees. But in the king of the suburb of houses scattered amongst the gardens is around Baghdad and Bushra. On the riverbank stood two forts in the towers, one raised on an artificial mound. Near the large river at the bottom of the slab was either a pond in the midst of palm trees or the source of a rivulet which fell into the mainstream. Yeah. And here we go. Defeated Elamites and their new king chosen for them by the Assyrian Ashurbanipal. Yeah. The adjoining slab was divided into 8 bands of friezes, and by parallel lines, the next slab into 7. On both were representing the Assyrian army, returning its victorious campaign, bringing the king, the captives, and the spoil. The prisoners who were probably considered rather rebels to his authority than the enemies were being cruelly tortured in in his presence. Principal group was that the Equinox general or Tartarian and led chief prince and conquered people with one had he grasped and is captive by the wrist and raised in the other long mastery spear at his back with the hung quiver and bow and embossed belt encircled his mail vest. But prisoner wore a simpler robe falling to his ankles, but then knotted his fillet around his head. Above him was an inscription, unfortunately much mutilated. Appears to have declared that he was one of his sons or chiefs of the Susian monarch defeated and slain in battle near the distinctive. Yeah, yeah, he's mutilated. Depicting aftermath of battle, too, man. I'm missing the draft. Hold on, y'all. Who is being picked? I forgot who's the first pick. They skimming too damn fast for me. They going crazy on this mug. Hold on, y'all. It's skimming too fast. I don't see this. I missed the guy that got picked. Okay, Kate Cunningham, Jalen Green for the Houston Rockets. Not surprised. Two guards, Yvonne Mobley. Yeah, they're on the clock. Okay, I'm on the fifth pick. Okay, good. They had two guards. So what's going on? Okay, what's going on, Mike? Third word salute. What's going on, man? Let me read this quick. Before the captive prince would gather the numbers of the Susians and probably the subjects of the slaughtered king and who had come to surrender the Assyrian general, for they still carried their arms and were not led by the victorious warriors. Some of them knelt it, some bowed into the ground, and others stretched at full length and rubbed their hands in the dust, all signs of grief and submission still practiced in the east. They were followed by a led horse and by a cart drawn by a mule, resuming those representing the battle scenes. Another Tartian of the Assyrian army holding his war horse, carrying his spear, also receiving the homage of the conquered Susians. But the Assyrians' generals were welcomed by bands of men and women dancing and singing, playing instruments and music. The Elamite city of Madikut, Elamites celebrate with music on harps while debris from battle till Tubia floats in past view too. Yeah, they were brutal. Yeah. I'm not gonna get into that. Yeah. Musicians were accompanied by 6 women and 9 boys, girls of different ages, singing and clapping their hands to the measures and the first distinguished of the various headdresses. Some wore their hair wore in long ringlets, and some plaited or braided, often confined in a net. One held her hands to her throat, as the Arab and Persian women still do when they make those shrill and vibrant sounds peculiar to the vocal music of the East. The whole scene, indeed, was curiously illustrative of the modern Eastern customs, but the musicians portrayed in a bas relief were probably of the class of the public performers who appear in Turkey and Egypt at marriages and other occasions of rejoicing. Gonzaga. Magic's done went down the drain. They ain't doing shit. This draft is okay. A lot of these guys are gonna be bust. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's only a few superstars. Palace of Ashura Bananelpo, 660, 665 BCE. The scenes depicting the aftermath of the Battle of Til Tubia and Elam. Here we go, right here. And we also got Elamite city of Mada Adagutu. Elamites celebrate with music on harps while debris from the Battle of Til Tubia floats past close-up musicians. Yeah, that's the people right here talking about that. And let's go. I think I talked about them before in certain streams. I mean, not streams, but my pre-records if y'all watched the old ones. Behind the 2 Assyrian generals were cavalry chariots, led horses, and army forces forming 2 friezes of the considerably beauty, no less remarkable of the delicacy of the execution than for the very spirited and correct delineation of the animals. A long line of warriors and some bearing maces, bows, spears, and shields, and other crossings their heads. Before them, in the common Eastern attitude of respect, form of friezes across the central of the slabs. They were attendants and bodyguard of the king, and were represented of different heights, and being probably picked men formed into companies. or regiments according to their size and strength. They walk in front of the row of trees. Yeah. Assyrian relief close up of the Hebrews in captivity. That's the Hebrews in captivity. That's what they say. Yeah, they survived it. Orlando's a mess. They ain't gonna do nothing with that pick. He used to play football, no wonder. A lot of these players gonna be bust. You know that, right? Yeah, it depends on how you train your body. They're gonna be bust before you know it. They're not that good. It's their little dream. But when they get into the pros, they're gonna be bust. Watch. It's too much competition. But the Assyrian warriors were captive, and their torturers, the form differed in costume from Sicilian fighting men, representing the adjoining base reliefs. They were distinguished by smallness of their stature and very marked. I would say very marked. This a Jewish countenance. I ain't gonna say Jewish or whatever. I want to say Hebrew or whatever. A sharp hook nose, short bushy beard, long narrow eyes. Could have then belonged to Hebrew tribes, which were carried away from Samaria and Jerusalem. This is around this time. This is the Israelites at the time. Placed by Salamenseer and Sennacherib or Ashurnhardian as colonists in the distance regions of Elam, who have become powerful in their settlements. Yeah, they took the Israelites into captivity, like the Samaria and Jerusalem. Yeah, Babylon conquered. Yeah, that period was a rough time. The Assyrians revolt against the Assyrian rules, but were once again subdued. But they will ward a conical cap to which were attached two or tall or ribbons entered the garment, reaching a little below to the knee, outer finger robe, and down to the back, to the ankles, and boots turned back to the toes, laced from the common, very marked. They try to say Jewish, but I don't say Hebrew. Continents and sharp hook nose, but Assyrian relief is a profile as all the noses look pretty much the same. Don't know what layer game was, but a typical with albino. Yeah, that's Esau and them. Yeah. We ain't gonna get into that. Scenes depicting the aftermath of the Battle of Tubia, Elam. So yeah, OKC's on the clock. You know what I'm saying? Like, got the horrors on the clock. So yeah, I'm gonna watch this the rest of the draft. And you know it. Draft ain't over. It's draft night. This is gonna be a little string, gonna be a little longer. I'm gonna get into it. We're not gonna stray away. And banging on, hanging over the shoulders, ending in the tassel, some in iron fetters, were being led before the king for judgment or pardon. Others have been condemned to the torture. Yeah, to torture. They torture them. Wow. Okay. Torture or were already in the hands of the executioners. 2 were stretched naked at the full length. Oh, wow. That's awful. 2 stretched naked at full length on the ground, and whilst their limbs were held apart by pegs and cords, they were being flayed alive. Damn, that's awful. Beneath them were other unfortunate victims undergoing abdominal punishments. The brains of one were apparently being beaten out with the iron mace. Oh, damn, they were brutal. Yeah, officers held him by the beard, and torture was retching his tongue out of the mouth of the second wretch who had beaten, pinning into the ground the bleeding heads of the slain were tied around the necks of the living, who seemed reserved for still more barbarous. Yeah, they were barbaric. They was already dead. They mutilated them, fucked them up. But they got defeated a long time ago. They was torturing dudes. They were barbaric with their shit. Yeah, they got destroyed at the end by other cultures, so I'm not gonna get into that. Yeah, they was barbaric. Yeah, Elams were barbaric. They did us dirty. The only spoil represented in these vast reliefs are carried away by Assyrian, consisted of horses and bundles of precious woods. That was they cut their heads off. Yeah, they was brutal back then. They was cutting heads off. They was ripping their heads off. And that's what happened. When you go to that torture, you're ripping someone's head off. Yeah, it was barbarous. And in the top of each slab were friezes of warriors drawn up in array. At the bottom, river flowed with those killed in the fight. Horses, mules, and they killed them in the fight. They tried to battle and they was defeated. That was back then. Assyrian scribes counted the heads of defeated enemies. Probably Elamites reigned from 685 BCE, 625. Yeah, they did them dirty. This is a depiction of them, what they look like. The modern black men no longer use a fillet with their hairstyle by sometimes colored. Yeah, the Medes, modern Iran. By the mid-9th century BCE, two new groups appeared in Elam. These are the Medes, Mada, and the Persians, Parsua, known as Persians, right here. One of the two Medes were more widespread in front of the Assyrian point of view. So the sixth pick was Josh Giddey. Oh, dang, that's a good pick. First round picks, Josh Green. That's different picks. Yeah, they have a foreigner. More widespread from the Assyrian point of view. The more important group, the mere were forest warriors and skilled horse breeders. They were the first organized and independent tribes. However, in their change under the tribal and chief Deioces, and he succeeded in uniting all of the Medes and tribes into the kingdom of Media. The Media, and the Persians, Parsua, continued their migration southward into an area southwestern of Elam that we now call Fars, and made their home. Yeah, here's the kingdom: ancient Elipi kingdom, original Parsua kingdom, known as Persia now. Lake Umia, what you say, Iran and all that. Yeah, these are the Medes. Interesting cultures. And here's the Mede tribute bearer leading to adorn stallions before the Syrian king Sargon II. Yeah, did some damage. Median line tribunals. Yeah, Sargon. Yeah, see the pictures. So, you know what I'm saying? Who were the Medes and the Persians? Okay. Good God. It was barbaric, the Assyrians. As always in the case with the ancient black civilizations, whites have spent their time producing falsehoods and nonsense in an attempt to make them appear to be white people. Thus, they have spent no time in ascertain their true origin. So this is the late date. There is still no clear understanding of where the Medes and Persians came from. So then let us investigate. The Persians and the Medes are the first mentioned in the records of Assyrian king Shalmaneser III, 859 to 824 BCE. In the records of Parshuash, along with Matai of Median, are the first mentioned as inhabitant in the area of the Lake Uremia, which is the salt lake of the northwestern Iran, near Iran's border with Turkey. Lake Matinius is an old name for Lake Uremia. It was the center of the Maninian kingdom. The center of the Maninian kingdom. The exact identity of the Pashtuas is yet to be determined, but from a linguistic viewpoint, the word matches Old Persian or Parsa. Note, though the Persians and the Medes would later form a unified people, they did not begin as such. They were originally separate kingdoms. Yeah, they were separate kingdoms. According, they were separate kingdoms and created the Persian Empire. Approximately 250 years previous, the Sea people, here we go, proximity 250 years previous to the Sea people, the conglomeration of the Mediterranean warriors and their families seeking new homes, invaded Egypt. The Sea people included the Pesislet, Teshkar, Minoans. I mentioned this in my my old pre-records of Crete. They would later be known as the Philistines. They would be later known as the Philistines. The Minoans were the Philistines. They were, I think the Philistines were Japhites, because at the time, Elamites are Semitic, but the Japhites are the Medes or something like that. I learned that in scripture. You know, some people try to say they're Hamites and whatever. No, these Philistines are Japhites. They lived in there. They spread out now. There's so many of them. After they had settled in southern Canaan over time, we're going to talk about Canaan I think, next month. Over time, this is an area became known as by the form of their name. They named Palestine. Yeah. And Luca, who may have come from the Lucian region of Anatolia, ex-Swash and Dinian, and who seem to be identified with the original Black Greeks, Sardinia, and some African got drafted in the Golden State. Okay. Sardinians, who may be associated with Sardinian and Tertius or Tertia or Darsunians, the Greek name of the Etruscans, name for the Etruscans, and the Shishlas, the Sicilians. The Etruscans and the Sicilians. Okay. After being turned away in defeat by Egyptian king Ramesses III, the Sea peoples invaded Anatolia. They are reported to have destroyed the central Anatolian Hittite empire, known as the Hattian Empire, settled there. There are just a few problems with the scenario. There never really was such thing as a Hittite empire. The name Hittite comes from an entry in the King James Bible, 1611 CE. And for some unknown reason, white people decide to give this name to what is undoubtedly a Hattic kingdom in Anatolia. Yes, it's called the Hattian Empire, not Hittite, because I disclaimed in my Hittite that it doesn't exist. It's called the Hattian Empire, the Hattic kingdom in Anatolia. Then there is a fact that we cannot identify what was the new kingdom that the Sea peoples formed. There's no doubt that the Sea people did displace some native Anatolian people who exactly they were and where they went into is another another unknown. There is a logical possibility that some Sea people remain in Anatolia and settle there. Perhaps some continue eastward. There's circumstantial evidence to support this scenario, and it all points to the Persians as a part of the Sea peoples who continue into Elam. Exactly. The Sea peoples went to Elam, and they mixed with the Semitic people, so with the actual people, so you know how that goes. Quotes from the histories of Herodotus, circa 440 BCE, will be used to support this scenario. The Colchians. According to the Greeks, Colchis were fabulous, wealthy land suited on the mysterious and periphery of the heroic world. Here in this sacred grove of the war god Ares, King Ates hung the golden fleece until it was seized. Jason, the Argonauts, Colchis were also the land where the mythological Prometheus were punished by being chained to the mountain, and while an eagle ate at his liver for revealing to humanity the secret of fire. Amazons also were said to be from Colchis, but the main mythical characters from Colchis are Atreides and Media, and Asturias and Calico, or Circia, Eldidia, Pasiphae. Media was the daughter of King Attius of Colchis, niece of Circia, granddaughter of the son of god Helios, and later wife to the hero Jason, with whom she had two children, and Mimiros and Furious. Okay, Book 4, Meliaphon, 437. The Persians inhabited the country upon the southern of Euphratean Sea, the Persian Gulf. Above them to the north are the Medes. Beyond the Medes, the Sassanians. Beyond the Colchians, reaching the north, the Black Sea, in which was faces empties itself, but these four nations fill the whole space from one sea to other. Okay, and here we're going to show you the pictures. This is what they're talking about. The map of the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire went from here to here to here. It was massive. It replaced the Egyptians. Yeah. Book 2, Your Trade, 2.104. There can be no doubt that the Colchians are the Egyptian race. Yeah, they mix in the culture. Yeah. Before I heard any mention of the fact from others, I had remarked it myself after the thought had struck me. I made inquiries on the subject, both the Colchians and Egypt, and I found that the Colchians have more distinctive recollection of the Egyptians, but then the Egyptians had of them. But still, the Egyptians said that they believed that the Colchians to be descended from the army of the Caesarius. My own conjectures were found first, but on the fact that they are black skinned and have woolly hair, which certainly amounts to but a little, since several other nations are so too. But further, more especially on the circumstance that the Colchians and then the Egyptians, the Ethiopians are the only nations who have practiced circumcision from the earliest times. To 2105. I will add further proof that the identity of the Egyptians and the Colchians, these two nations weave their lineage in the exact same way. This is the way entirely unknown. Yeah, Mo France. Who picked him? Yeah, he was picked. Same way entirely. Okay, same way. Two are lineage, the same way as they, this way entirely unknown. But the rest of the world, they also known their mode in life. Okay. Oh, he's picked by the magic. Okay. This foreigner France. I figured that. Sacramento's next up. Okay. Oh, the same way the whole time. Life and their language resembles one another. The Colchian lineage is called by the Greeks a Sardinian, while that which comes from Egypt is known as the Egyptian. Here's the Medes. Let's get into the Medes. Book 7, Palomania, 762. The Medes had exactly the same equipment as the Persians. Indeed, the dress common to both is not so much Persian as Median. They had for a commander of Tigranes of the race of the Achaemenids, and these Medes were called anciently by all people Aryans. But when Media and Colchian came to them from Athens, they changed their name, such as in the account which is gave themselves. They themselves give. Note, it appears that the Medes were once a Colchian people called Aryans, who took the name of their new name, Colchian ruler Media. Persian's inscription mention Aryans. Darius the Great, the Bishan inscription 70, 4.888 and 92. Darius the king says, by the favor of Araman, Aramamazda, this is the inscription which I made. Besides, it was an Aryan on clay tablets and a parchment it was composed. Besides the sculpture figure of myself I made, I made my lineage. It was inscribed and it was read off before me. Afterwards, this inscription I sent off everywhere among the provinces. The people unitedly worked upon it. Inscriptions on the south face of the steep ridge north of Persepolis. Yeah, I am Darius, the great king, the kings of kings, king of the countries, containing all of men, all kinds of men, and kings in the great earth, and wide son of Hasbius, and Archemenian, and Persian, the son of Persians, and Aryan, having an Aryan lineage. No, Aryan and Aryan is used interchangeably depending on the translator. However, it is preferably to reserve Aryan for the Persians, Aryan for the white Central Asian people. Okay, two different areas. Okay, we're going into the Persians. We're going to get into that. The Persians, the people of Argos, Greece, and the Persians share the same lineage. Ptolemaian. We'll get into that. Get into that in a minute. Hold on. I'm getting that in a minute. Yeah, we're gonna go in there in a minute. Hold on. It's the heat wave. Hold on. We're gonna get into it. Hold on. It's 95 today. It's gonna be hot tonight. Yeah, we ain't gonna. Hold on, guys. I gotta check on something real quick. Let's see. Let me see something for a minute. Yeah. What's going on, She? Yeah, what's going on? I know I'm reading. I know people are. Yeah, man. I'm not worried about no views and numbers, but people are sometimes. Okay. In such an account which is given in these matters by the Archives and themselves, there's another story, which is totally generally through Greece or of a different tender of Xerxes. It's said to be for, who they picked? Davion Mitchell. Oh, wow. He's the 9th pick. Davion Mitchell from Baylor that won the championship. Oh, that's a good pickup. Sacramento, you did a good job. Davion Mitchell. Wow. That's a good upgrade. There's gonna be some stars in that draft. Everybody else ain't that good. I'm just saying. I mean, yeah. Xerxes said to be before he was on his expedition against Greece, he sent a herald to Argos, who on his arrival spoke as follows: Men of Argos, King Xerxes speaks thus to you. We Persians deem that the Persians from whom we descend was the child of Perseus, the son of Danae, and the Andromeda, the daughter of Cepheus. Hereby I would seem that we come of your stock, lineage, so then it's neither benefits us make war upon those from we sprang, nor can it be right for you, and you fight, and on the behalf of others against your place. It's to keep quiet and hold yourself aloof. Only let in matters proceed as wish, and there's no people whom I shall have in higher esteem than you. Certain culture practice almost also connects Persians to Anatolia. Yeah, he mentioned this site before. This scholar did. The ancient Anatolian burial practices of the fleshing body and the and then placing the bones in a container for burial. Catalhugic, circa 7,500 BCE, is unique practice by only two later cultures, and principles among them are the Persians of the Zoroastrian religion. Their practice was to place the body where it may be eaten by scavenging birds and animals or weather to its bare bones, but then place in the for uh, container for burial. But in Bombay, India, known as Mumbai now, they call it, see, around the time it's called in Bombay, India, known as Mumbai, India now. The Parsis, as the Indian descents of the Persian refugees from the Arab Turk invasion, are called, maintained towards silence, which are high circular towers. And the dead, they are carried to the top of the funeral and servants place them on stones and surrounding central pit and covering and strip the flesh of the bones, and they gather place in certain central pit. Yassery said to be contained the bones of, they said Jesus and Brother James. Okay, who cares? I don't know why they put that there, but okay. And there's Iran 5,000 year old jar burial of child found at the bottom of an ancient room. Wow. Let's read this. The Hebrews, around 2,000 years ago, during the time that they said Christ lived, the Hebrew burial tradition shifted, include the second burial of the usuries and the burial practice involved, including descending the bones after the flesh and been left to decompose and desiccated, and then place them inside a usury. The usury was then placed into the locus and a type of statue. They say Christ's body was placed in a cave to be the flesh. Yeah, they was saying like that. Yeah, nasty woman in the flesh. Okay, I'm gonna read this next one. I'm gonna wait till this next pick. Hold on. Zaire Williams, Stanford University. Pelicans. These precise burial practices are unique to those mentioned people to no other people of the world. Logically, then, but the question must be asked: are they related? It is no stretch to connect. There's no stretch to connect the Hebrews with the ancient Anatolians. They're not connected to them. No, they're not. From the time of the ancient Sumerians, the Hebrews, formerly called Amorites, were known to be nomadic people inhabiting the area forming the conjunction of the borders, the modern day Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. The Bible suggests that the city of Haran, which is the center of that area, is in the homeland of the Hebrews. However, to by name, the ancient Haran is located just north of the Syrian Turkish border. Egyptians, Greeks, Anatolians, and Persians also shared the use of the Sphinx. Yeah, they also use the share of the Sphinx. That's very true. Human head lions, a mythical creatures. They all shared the idol. Egypt was powerful. Here we go. Let's look at the idols. Winged Sphinx from Darius, placed in Susa, circa 510 BCE. You see him. Greek Sphinx, Attica, circa 530 BCE. That's 510 BC. That's after Greece. King Darius of Persians. Sphinx of Anatolia, 800 BCE, right here. That's there. That's what you see. The Eurasians. Mede soldier. The Eurasians. At the same time, the beginning as the early of 9th century BCE, and with the ever increasing impacts of the new 2 centuries, groups of nomadic white warriors entered the western Iran from the Eurasian plains. These were the Scythians. These were the Scythians and the Parthians, the Parni and the Aryans and others. Dominated among these groups were the Scythians. Over time, the Scythians allied themselves with with Assyrians, and the Scythians and the Assyrians together conquered the Medes of the Caspian Sea area. However, the Medes were later able to regroup and drive in Scythian. Yeah. Oh God. Hold on. Red's on. Let me see if Red's on. What's he talking about? What is he talking about? Cause I ain't worried about this shit. Yeah, he ain't talking about nothing. I gotta stream. I gotta focus on me. At the beginning, okay, regroup Scythians, Medes. However, it was later regrouped, drive the Scythians to Western Asia back into the Eurasian steppes. Herodotus reports how under the king of Zaxares of Media, 625 BCE, the Scythians were overthrown when their kings were induced at the supper party to get so drunk that they were then easily slain by the Medes. Yeah. After the victory of King Zaxares reorganized the Median army into specialized units to build around the spearmen, archers, cavalry to unify the reorganized the Mede army was now a match for the Assyrians. But the Medes attacked one of the important Assyrian borders cities named Arapakfa or something like that. Arakfa in 615 BCE, and then surround the Assyrian capital of Nivi in 614 BCE. But they were unable to capture Nivi. Instead of successfully stormed the Assyrian religious capital of Ashur. Later, in the alliance between Babylon and the Medes was sealed by the marriage of Zaxarus' granddaughter to Nebuchadnezzar II, the son of the Babylonian king Nabopolassar. This is 612 BCE. I talk about King Nebuchadnezzar II on what you call it, a old pre-record that got 1,000 views. Then attack the Assyrian capital of Nivi was renewed, and the city fell into the late August of that year. The Babylonians and the Medes together pursued the fleeing Assyrians westward into Syria. Assyrians appeals to Egypt for help, but came to naught, and last Assyrian ruler Ashur-Abalion II disappeared from the history in 609 BCE. What you call it? The spoils and territories of Assyrian Empire were then split up between the Babylonians and the Medes. Yeah, that's the Mede soldier. We're going to the next realm. Mede soldier right here. Yeah, they got the sword. Victors get the spoils, right? So we're gonna go right here. It's only 5, y'all. We're gonna read some. We're gonna talk about Elam today, and we're gonna see what y'all talking about. So I know y'all in the chat doing your thing, and you know what I'm saying. Like, let's see here. The Median king of the Medes were, however, was overthrown by the rise of the Persians. They were led by the King Cyrus the Great, Cyrus II, the Persians of Persia. While the Medes have been busy with the Assyrians, Cyrus had managed to unite under his authority several Persian and the Elamite tribes who were not under the Median control. Eventually, he openly rebelled against the Medes, who he had helped. He then vested in battle. In these battles, considerably the numbers of the Median troops deserted to the Persian side. Thus, in 500 BCE, the Median Empire became a part of the First Persian Empire. The Achaemenian kings must have been appeared on the international scene with a suddenness that frightened many. So, you know what I'm saying? Like the relief and the Cyrus the Great, 508, 502, 29 BCE, as an early version of the Pharpar found in Palestine, the capital city of Persia, cities. Too many blacks still favor the short hair. Yeah. We get it. Zoroastrianism. So we're gonna get that. I picked a guy named James in Charlotte. Okay. The religion. Zoroastrianism, the religion of the Persians, was Zoroastrianism, and their name for their god was Arua Mazda. The symbol for their religion, not their god, was the Farah, the Faravavar. The Persians were devotedly religious and had many strict rules and uh, prohibitions. Prohibitions. Of course, of particular distaste to the Persians was the lie. The Achaemenian kings did not discriminate against other religions, did not seek to force others to their faith. Many aspects of Zoroastrianism were later incorporated into the Hebrew religion, in which, and in his mind, Cyrus saw the world as being full of evil and disorder, and felt it was incumbent upon him to bring order to the world. And this, in his thinking, the only way to do that was to conquer it. Yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah, the Persians still practice some of that today, but then that Islam stuff came later. So, Darius has the human bust on a Fafrar, the symbol of Zoroastrian religion. Yeah. So, guys, we got this down pat. But the Cyrus then went on abandoning the conquering every land that he could find. Then finally he turned on the Babylon. As you will recall from the Sumer section and the Marduk priesthood, in Babylon had already set the stage. But the fall of Babylon came from almost as an anticlimax. But the fall of the greatest city in the Middle East was swift. Cyrus march, and this was the late summer of 539 BCE, seized at the hands of the statue of the god of Marduk. This is a signal of the willingness and the rule as the Babylonians, not as a foreign conqueror. With this, he was thus hailed as a legitimate successor to the throne. In this one stride, Cyrus carried in the Persian power to the borders of Egypt, and for the Babylonians came all to it and had previous seized from the Assyrians, and also that which it had later gained on its own. Liberations of the Hebrews. Okay. Glazed back, relieved Persian soldier from the palace of Ataratics, Artaxerxes in Susa. So, liberation of the Hebrews. By the order of Cyrus, all captives of nationalities that have been held for generations in Babylon were freed, and their return to their homelands was financed by him. Among liberated captives were 50,000 Hebrews held in the Babylonian for 3 generations, and their instructions was to return to their homeland and rebuild their temple. This is a policy that was also followed by Cyrus' successors. Some of the liberated Hebrews were invited to and did settle in Persia. Because of such of the generous act, and Cyrus had been anointed in the Bible. He is only general in the Bible who has titled Messiah, but he's also mentioned explicitly as the Lord's shepherd in his anointed Messiah. Other references to Cyrus are attested in Isaiah 45:4. When Cyrus is called by name, given the title of honor, he is called to rebuild the God's city and free his people. In Isaiah 45:13, and he is chosen and called, brought through success by his God. Isaiah 48:14 and 15. Upon the death of Cyrus the Great, the empire passed to his son Cambius II and reigned 522 BCE. At the time that they were, may have been some degree of unrest throughout the empire. For with Cyrus' death, Cambius apparently felt necessary to secretly kill his brother Bardia, the Sarmenius. The campaign against Egypt began in 552 BCE. And I'll show you the picture right here. And the conquest of Egypt, Egyptian Pharaoh Ahmose II of the 26th dynasty sought to shore up to his defense against the Persians by hiring Greek mercenaries. But he was betrayed by the Greeks. Cambius, successful, managed to cross the hostile Sinai Desert and Egypt's first strongest defense, and engaged in Egypt's force and Persian the Sarah, and battled personally in Egypt and lost in force and retired. Memphis subsequently fell to Persia. Okay, I'll be back, y'all. Just give me a second. I'll be on mute. Sorry about that. And no interruptions. Okay, 12th pick. Okay, San Antonio. Oh, Charlotte ain't did nothing. Okay. Yeah, Pharaoh, Egyptians, Persians, and did all after Egypt later. Okay. They're just showing you pictures of people right now. Persian people, what they look like. Black child with the medium curly hair. Yeah, my boy is describing that. Okay. Let's get past that. This is Darius. Within a little more than a century after the Assyrians of Ashur ben Napiel's salt sowing, the great Elamite city of Susa was rebuilt by Darius I, successor to Cambius II, at around 518 BCE. Darius took care to the record that he adorned the city with the gold, sardius and Bactria and ivory from Egypt and Ethiopia and cedar wood from Lebanon. Yeah, a lot of people call it Lebanon. Yeah, from Lebanon. And this was afforded by the tribute that came to him from the controlling 2 million square miles of the territory stretching from Egypt and the Aegean Sea well into India, from the Persian Gulf to the Caspian and Black Seas. Susa was once more became glowing city as described in the Bible, with the monumental buildings furnishing with marble pillars, couches of the gold and silver on the mosaic pavement of the porphyry marble, mother of the pearl, precious stones, but thus restored to Susa later for another 1,700 years, and then sadly was destroyed by the Mongol invaders in about 1200 CE, and it was never again rebuilt. The Persian Wars, as chronicled by Herodotus after the fact, the circa 440 BCE, the Greco-Persian Wars were a series of conflicts between the Achaemenid Empire of the Persia and the city-states of the Hellenic world that started in 499 BCE, lasted until 449 BCE. The collisions between the two fractious political world of the Greeks and the enormous empire of the Persians began within the Cyrus and the Great conquered the Ionian in 547 BCE, the struggling to rule the independent-minded cities of Ionia, and then the Persians appointed tyrants to rule each of them. This would prove to be the source of trouble for the Greeks and the Persians alike. In 449 BCE, but then the tyrant of Miletus, Aristogoras, embarked on the expedition to conquer the island of Naxos with the Persians' support. However, the expeditions was a debacle and preempting his dismissal, and Aragoclus incited an all Hellenic Asia Minor into the rebellion against the Persians. This was the beginning of the Ionian Revolt, which would last until 493 BCE, progressively drawing more religions of Asia Minor into the conflict of Aristogoras, secured the military support from the Athens and Eritrea, and 498 BCE, these forces helped to capture, burn the Persian regional capital of Sardis, and the Persian king Darius the Great vowed to have revenge on the Athens and Eritrea for this act. This revolt continued within the two sides, effectively stalemate through 497, 495 BCE. In 494 BCE, the Persians regrouped and attacked the epicenter of the revolt in Miletus. At the Battle of Lade, the Ionians suffered a decisive defeat, and the rebellion collapsed, with the final members being stamped out the following year. Seeking to secure his empire from further revolts and from the interference of the mainland Greeks, Darius embarked on the scene to conquer Greece, to punish Athens and Eritrea for burning Sardis. Sardis. The first Persian invasion of Greece began in 492 BCE. 492 BCE, with the Persians' general Mardonius conquered Thrace and Macedon before several mishaps forced an early to end the campaign. But in 490 BCE, a second force was sent to Greece, and this time across the Aegean Sea under the command of Datis and Aratorines. And this expedition subjugated the Cyclades, and before besieging the capturing the raising the Eritrean. However, while on the route the attack of Athens, the Persian force was decisively defeated by the Athenians. The Persian force was decisively defeated by the Athenians at the Battle of Marathon, ending the Persian efforts for the time being. But Darius then began to plan to complete the conquest of Greece, but died in 486 BCE. Responsibility for the conquest passed to his son Xerxes the First. Xerxes the First. In 480 BCE, Xerxes personally led to the second Persian invasion of Greece, which one of the largest ancient armies ever assembled. Victory over the allied Greek states led by Sparta and Athens. At the Battle of Thermopylae, here we go. Let's read this again. The Battle of Thermopylae. This is Xerxes the First. Okay, allowing Persians to overrun most of Greece, however, while seeking to destroy to the combined Greek fleet. And the Persians suffered a severe defeat at the Battle of Salamis. But the following year, the Confederate Greeks went on the offensive, defeating the Persian army at the Battle of Platatae and ending the invasion of Greece. But the allied Greeks followed up their success by destroying the rest of the Persian fleet at the Battle of Mycale, before expelling the Persian garrisons from the Sestials in 479 BCE. Who they select? Chris Dorte from Oregon. Okay, figure that. And the Byzantium 478 BCE. But the actions of the general Parthians at the siege of Byzantium alienate many of the Greek states from the Spartan Sea below. The anti-Persian alliance was therefore reconstituted around the Athenian leadership as the so-called Delian League. The Delian League continued to campaign against the Persia for the next 3 decades, beginning with the expulsion of the remaining Persian garrisons from Europe at the Battle of the Eurymedion in 466 BCE, but the League won a double victory that finally secured a freedom for the cities of Ionia. However, the League's involvement in the Egyptian revolt from 460 to 454 BCE resulted in the disastrous defeat. Further campaigning was suspended. After the fleet was sent to Cyprus in 451 BCE, but achieved little. But when it withdrew, the Greco-Persian Wars drew to the quiet end. But some historical sources suggest the end of the hostilities and was marked by a peace treaty between Athenians and Persia, the so-called Peace of Calliassus, or something like that. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Let me give y'all some links. Hold on. What I just read earlier. I'm gonna give you some links of. Let me slow down. I'm gonna stick with it with y'all. I'm gonna copy some links for y'all if y'all want to know what I'm reading, and we're gonna go into it. And I know this is kind of boring to y'all, but appreciate the one that's listening. But you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna give you that and that gem, so y'all can put this in your saves and all over. And let's see, we're on number 4, right? Okay, let's give you number 2. Number 2, y'all want some information, you can read this website to yourself. You brothers out there, just make sure you take this in. This is what I'm talking about. We're talking about the Elamite history, dark history, whatever. I'm gonna give you some links down here and below. And let's see, we're gonna go. I'm not worried. Number 3, people saying don't tell the truth. I won't tell it anyway. I got the truth. I'm not fake on here looking for money. I'm not in it for that. I stick to what I know. I'm not trying to clout chase. That's not who I am. That's easy to do. I thought about that. I said, nah. Everyone wants to be famed. They don't want to be famous. It's kind of respect at the end of the day. God damn, Fat Bay is crazy. Oh wow, no wonder. Let me turn this off. It's getting too much power. Let me see. Golden State up next. Wait, boy. He biting that damn microphone. Boy, gonna get sick. Who they pick? Ain't got no socks, no nothing. Yeah. Pausanias was a Spartan general of the 5th century BCE. He was the son of Cleobrotus, the nephew of Leonidas I, serving as a regent after the latter's death. Since Leonidas' son Placioroscus, that's a Rosicus or something like that. I want to say Pleistarchus. Yeah, Pleistarchus was still underage. Pausanias was also the father of Placianax, who later became king, and Cleomenians, and Pausanias was responsible for the Greek victory over the Mardonians and the Persians at the Battle of Plataea in 479 BCE, was the leader of the Hellenic League, created to resist Persians' aggressions during the Greco-Persian Wars. After the Greek victories of the Plataea and the Battle of Mycale, but the Spartans lost interest in liberating Greek cities of Asia Minor. Asia Minor. However, when it became clear that the Athenians, clear that Athens would dominate the Hellenic League in Sparta's absence, Sparta sent the Parthians back to the command league, the military. In 478 BCE, the Parthians was suspected of conspiring with the Persians and was recalled to Sparta. However, he was acquitted and then left Sparta of his own record, taking a triumph from the town of Harmony. After capturing Byzantium, Parthians was alleged to have released some of the prisoners of war and who were friends and relations of the king of Persia. However, the Parthians argued that the prisoners had escaped and sent the letter to King Xerxes, son of Darius, saying that he wished to help him in bringing Sparta and the rest of the Greece under Persian control. In return, he wished to marry the king's daughter. After receiving the letter back from Xerxes, in which Xerxes agreed to his plans, Bosnians started to dress like the Persians aristocrat. Yeah, this is kind of like 300. Okay, that's him. Okay. Aristocrat. And then he started to adopt Persian customs. Yeah, this is the guy that got killed by Leonidas's wife, I believe. Yeah, this is kind of, yeah. I'll say support. Let me see this. Okay, many Spartans allies joined the Athenian side because of the Parthians' arrogance and high-handedness. But the Spartans recall him once again, and Parthians fled to Colonnade into Detroit before returning to Sparta. He didn't wish to be suspected of the Persian symphonies on his arrival in Sparta, but the ephors had him imprisoned, but he was later released. Nobody had enough evidence to convict him of disloyalty, even though some of the Helots, yeah, in arrival in Sparta, okay, yeah, some of Helots gave evidence that he had offered certain Helots to their freedom if they joined him in the revolt. One of the messengers that Xerxes and Pausanias had been using to communicate, provide written evidence to the Spartan efforts that they needed to formally prosecute Pausanias. Okay, and efforts and planned the arrest of Pausanias in the street, but he was warned of their plans and escaped the temple of Athenia of the Brazen House. But then the efforts walled up to the doors, but the sentries but out and proceeded to starve him out. When Pausanias was on the brink of the death, he carried him out, and then he deadly sure after the certain events of Pausanias' death from taking place with the sanctuary of the temple, which would wound him in the act of ritual pollution. He was 20 years old. He was born 2001. His name was Terrence Clark. Oh, he passed away. He passed away. Okay, COVID. Okay. Oh, I love this shit. Ritual pollution. Yeah, okay. The Persians had acquired the greatest empire yet known to man, but fatigue is starting to settle in and drained of the constant war. But the consequence of the palace intrigues have left Persia very fragile. But now the empire extends north to southern Europe. Here are many battles are fought to secure and expand their territory. And it is here that they encountered the Macedonian king Alexander. That's when they got defeated. Yeah, they got defeated. The fall of Achaemenid Empire in May 334 BCE. The Persian satraps led by Greek mercenary Menemen of Rhodes are defeated at the Battle of Grantius by the Macedonian king Alexander the Great. The victory exposed Alexander the Persian weakness. He later undertakes a full-scale invasion of Persia. By now, Persia is weak, even though the Persians field a large army and is made up of mostly of mercenaries. The Battle of Issus occurred in southern Anatolia. In November 333 BCE, the invading troops, led by the young Alexander of Macedonia, defeated the army and personally led by Darius III of Achaemenid Persia in this second great battle of the primacy in Asia. But the Persian capital of Persepolis falls to the invaders in April 330 BCE, and Darius III, the last king of Achaemenid king, the last Achaemenid king is murdered in the summer of the same year while fleeing the conquerors. With the annexation of the Persian Empire, the Greeks now established the greatest empire known to man. Darius III, 380, 330 BCE, also known by his given name of Cautomonimus, was the last of the king, the Elamite kings. Here you go, right here, y'all. And the Persian Empire from 336 BCE to 330 BCE. Here you go, right here. That's Darius, y'all. But he was defeated. And note, this is real subjects of the drawing. And supposed Persian soldiers' uniform is incorrect. Yeah. Tomb of, Macedonian Greek, galloping horse attacked the Persian soldier on the foot, who's protecting himself with his shield, circa 300 BCE. Drawing the original was destroyed. Yeah. Mosaic representing the Battle of Alexander the Great. There's third, early Greek. Yeah. Macedonia from Darius, greatest Persian. The tomb. By now, we are familiar with white. Yeah. Depicting. This is. We're all glazed Persians and all that. King Darius close up. Got it right here, y'all. He's trying to capture him. Xerxes' palace in Persepolis or something like that. The city. Prince Xerxes behind the throne of King Darius. Yeah, that's funny. Relief from Egypt showing Persia King Artaxerxes III Oxus. Persians ruled Egypt twice. Yeah, they ruled Egypt twice for a total of 121 years. Damn. Egypt was weak. Her daughters, Persia, human head, wool bull. Yeah, Libyans, Greek arm. Yeah, Africa. We ain't gonna get into that. What? Oh no, hold on. We got time, don't we? How much time we got? It's only less. So we got time. It's an hour and 34 minutes and 48 seconds. Yeah, we got time. Um, we got time, y'all. Let's go into it. Here's how the Herodotus describes some of the participants in the great battles. He tells us the Eastern Ethiopians, Dravidians, means the untouchables, for the two nations of his of this name served in the army were marshaled with the Indians, but they differ in nothing from the other Ethiopians save in their language and the character of their hair. For Eastern Ethiopians have straight hair, while they of the Libya are more woolly haired than any other people in the world. But Ethiopians, Greek meaning burnt face, blah, 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 blah. This is actually, yeah, they trying to say that's a lie or whatever. Okay. Again, lie territory argument. Okay, Greek character and we ain't gonna get into that. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, Libyans, Greek, usually denoted in Africa, except Egypt, curiosity, and all that. Yeah, I was in the Greeks. We ain't gonna get into that. Yeah, I can let y'all read that. I just read one half of that. Yeah, I won't admit that. Okay, Persian head, human head, we know. The Oxus treasure. The Oxus treasure consists of about 170 objects dating mainly from the 5th and 4th centuries BCE. The treasures seem to have been gathered together over a long period and perhaps in certain temples, but it includes the vessels of gold, scabbard model, and chariots and figures of armlets and seals and finger rings and miscellaneous personal objects dedicated plagues and coins, and it was found one of the banks of the river Oxus, and probably at the site of Takda in Kadwad and ferry station on the north bank of the river. And in May 1880, Captain F.C. Burton, a British political officer in Afghanistan, rescued a group of the merchants who had been captured by bandits while traveling between Kabul and Peshawar. They were carried with them this rich collections, gold and silver objects. Burton bought from them gold armlet, and now in Victoria, now Albert Museum. Other pieces of the treasure subsequently emerged in the bazaars and rapidly. Yeah, what is that? He's picked from the wizards. Yeah, I'll say British Peninsula treasures. Yeah, Rapri Pani and some of those in British museums. Yeah, and Sir Alexander, 1814-93, director, archaeological surveys in India. Yeah, not gonna get. I'm gonna give you all the rest of this stuff. Okay, here's the items of Oxus treasure: Achaemenid, Persian, Greek, Seleucid periods. Here you go. Here's the people, and give you that, and there's pieces of it. And here we go. Yeah, Greek treasure and all that stuff. So yeah, this is the pieces of those people. Greek Hopper. Yeah, I talk about the Hoplites too. I pre-record that. This is new. They added the Hoplite period. Okay. Let me give y'all this link what I'm reading. And so since I'm gonna give you the copy of that first overall pick from Detroit, damn, he's light skinned. Shit, he ain't gonna even last. Was gone past $40, Irv Gotti. Salute to you for coming by. Let's see. We're gonna get this link up in here. Yeah, shout you out. Yeah, I'm in here today. So I'm just gonna get up in here. Yeah, this is Elam 3, and we're gonna go number 4 because I know it's 5 of them. We're gonna talk about this today. And the Elamites, soliloquies, Elam number 4. When last we left Elam, Alexander the Great had defeated the Persians. Yeah, this is getting good. I'm gonna let this load. We're getting good right here. With the end of the Achaemenid Empire, southern Mesopotamia, Persia were partitioned by Alexander into the strategy of the Babylonian in the south, while the northwestern part of Mesopotamia was joined with the Syria into another strategy. It is not known how long the division lasted, but by the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BCE, northern Mesopotamia was removed from Syria and separate strategy. One of his generals, Soliloquist, latest Soliloquist, the first Nigactor, received the strategy of Babylonia to rule. The Soliloquist thus became the ruler of the large empire stretching from modern Afghanistan to the Mediterranean Sea. He found a number of cities. This guy's from Turkey. He was drafted by the OKC. It makes sense. It's a Turkish guy. It's in Turkey. That country's crazy. They kind of like our allies. I can't stand that. He found numbers of cities most important, which Seleucia on the Tigris, and the Antioch on the Orontes River in Syria. The Parthians, here's the coin of Seleucus, the first enactor, that's him. Okay, the borders of Parthia were Kopetdag Mountains range in the north. Today, that borders between Iran and Turkmenistan. In the Dasket-e-Kavar Desert in the south. In the west was Media. In the northwest of Hyrcania. In the northwest of Margiana. In the southeast of Aria. Aria. And the road of the Media through the Parthia and the Margianas and the famous Silk Road. On the other side of the southwestern desert was Persia proper. But the country south of the Kopet and the Daggers are fertile, and it was irrigated in the antiquity. There was also large forests. Assyrian texts mention a country named Parataka and Partuka in the 7th century BCE. At the unknown inhabitants were subjugated by the Medes, who ruled until they were subdued by the Persian leader Cyrus the Great in 550 BCE. For the next 2 centuries, Parthia was a part of the Achaemenid Empire. In 331 BCE, Parthians fought on the side of King Darius III in the struggle against the Macedonian invader Alexander the Great during the Battle of Gaugamela. Gaugamela and Parthians were commanded by Pharaoh who surrendered his strategy when Alexander arrived in the summer of 330 BCE, and he was reappointed and is known to have been a strategy of Harcinian in 323 BCE. In the chaotic period after the death of Alexander, June 11, 323 BCE, Parthia was the first still ruled by the Patriarchs, but when the empire was divided at the Triparadises of Decius, 320 BCE, and it was allotted. It was allotted on one under Philip, but 2 years later, the Strapia Media and Maine named Pythion size of the country and appointed his brother Eudamus. However, the other satraps united drove them back. But from 316 BCE on, the Satrapy was ruled by Sasander, and who was already strapped of the Bactria and must have seized Arian and Marginian too, which was situated between Patrias and his own Satrapy between 308 and 303 BCE. But these countries recognized the sovereignty of Seleucus, satrap of Babylon, founding a Seleucid empire. He and his descendants appointed the satraps of Parthia and for more than 60 years. So Parthian king Saratruk II, Parthian princess, Asia people, it's the prince, that's the king and the princess. So, you know, that's those people. Parnenian, the Parthian shot, the Central Asian steppe have been home of the nomadic tribes for centuries. These nomads roam across the plains, attacking the urbanized countries to the south, east, or west. They are known under many names. One of these tribes was that of the Parni. They are known before the 3rd century BCE. The area where they live, along with the rivers Sadars and Jarstrex, was occupied by the tribes. Occupied the tribe that the Persians knew as the Dah, literally robbers. The kings of the Seleucid dynasty were never able to control the area. Control this area now known as Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. But during the Seleucid period, these nomads started to move to the south, to the countries from as Bactria, Aria, and Parthia. But in 245 BCE, satrap named Andragorgus. Andragorgus revolted from the young Seleucid king Seleucus II, who had just succeeded to the throne. In the conclusion, then Parthia was attacked by Parthenia. By 238 BCE, the Parnini occupied the wreck known as Asavine, and 3 years later, Parnenian leader named Tridates ventured further south in the seas and the rest of the Parthia, and the counter-offense by the king Seleucus II ended in the disaster of Harsacania. Harsacania was also subdued by Parnini, and the Parnini made their capital at Hecatopolis. From then on, the Parnini were known as Parthians, and the years that followed, their kings recognized the Seleucid kings as their superiors. Parthians were expert horsemen known as for the master techniques of the turning their bodies while in the full gallop and firing arrows, and as they pursued, and it was known as the Parnini shot, later to be known as the Parthian shot. Trey Murphy the third, okay. He came from Virginia. He went to Memphis. They don't need a lot of guards. What's wrong with this draft? All of them gonna be bust. I ain't seen one superstar coming out of that draft. After the death of the Parthian king Mithridates the first in 138 BCE, Seleucid king Antiochus the seventh began campaigning to recover the lost Seleucid territory in the east. This campaign was successful until Antiochus the seventh lost his life in Persia in 129 BCE. His deaths ended Seleucid rule in Mesopotamia and allowed for the establishment of the small principalities in both south and the north of Mesopotamia. And also with the death of Antiochus VII, Parthians then went on to conquer what was left of Media and Babylonia and Assyria. thus creating the Parthian Empire. The Parthian Empire would last until 224 CE. Parthian Empire was not centralized. They were several languages, ethically several peoples, and several economic systems. Thus, Parthian monarch was the ruler of his own kingdom, plus some 18 vassal kings, such as the rulers of the city state of Hatra, the port of Carcine, and the kingdom of Armenia. By now, Rome has become the greatest power in Europe, and they too are bent on conquest. The prize for them was what was left in soliloquied empire. The Parthians also wanted more of this territory. So in 69 BCE, the two enemies concluded a treaty and anticipation of taking the remnants of soliloquied empire, splitting it up amongst themselves for the Euphrates River and would be their border. East of the would be Parthenius, west of Euphrates would be Roman. But the Seleucid Empire was assaulted from two sides, and Parthians in attack from east and Romans from the west. 6 years later, the Roman commander of Pompey the Great conquered what was left of the empire of Seleucids. Parthian armies consisted of two types: cavalry. Yeah. So yeah, where am I? King Vassal States, Armenian, okay. Greatest power, Seleucid, and Israel empire amongst themselves. Okay. Parties also wanted more of the territory, but so their border. Okay. I've read all that. Okay, okay. However, 10 years later, in 53 BCE, the Roman general Caracas invades Parthia. This will be the beginning of the series of wars that were to last for almost 300 years. Parthian armies consisted of two types of cavalry: heavily armed, and armored caphystrox, and lightly armored brigades of mounted archers. To the Romans, who relied on heavy infantry, Parthians were hard to pin down and defeated. On the other hand, the Parthians could never occupy conquer territory that they had neither to infantry nor the skills to hold ground. This explains why the Roman and Parthian wars lasted so long. Also, in these wars, years later, Romans have been divided between the supporters of Pompey and thus of Julius Caesar. Because of this Roman civil war, there was no opportunity to concentrate on the Parthians, and so in 41 BCE, Parthia invaded Rome territory in Syria, Sicilica, Caria, and then attacked the city of uh, Pythagoras. And the second Parthian army invaded Judea and captured its king Hyrcanicus II. So we already know. Oh, every player's not wearing socks because it's hot. Wearing a suit. Was last long? Okay. Yeah. Where are we going here? Yeah. attacked Pythagoras, the second army invaded Judea. But, okay, the spoils and victories was immense, put some good use. King Parsos the fourth. I'll say the fourth. I mean the fourth or the sixth. I mean, no, the fourth. My fault. Invested them in Cassisphan in the new capital. He was split up the Tigris River. Yeah. The Sassanians, the Sassanians, and there's Arabia right there. Sassanians, Persian Empire. Okay, another one. The wars of Rome continued back and forth. With Septimius Severus became king of the Roman Empire. He attacked the Parthia, and Ctesiphon was captured in 198 CE. As a result of this victory, large spoils were brought to Rome. Partius was now impoverished, and while at the time, and there was in Bartitius. His name is Trey Man. What pick is this? He's a Florida Gator. Okay, he went to that school. So he was in that, impoverished at the same time. They have internal revolts in Parthia. Okay, and also in 224 CE, the resurgence of Persians, now under their king Artaxerxes, culminated the war of the Parthidia, and that his father Papka, Papka had started. He defeated the last Parthian king, Artabanus V, in battle, and 2 years later, Artaxerxes took Ctesiphon and then meant at the end of the Parthidia, and also meant the beginning of the Second Persian Empire, one ruled by the Sassanid kings. But the beginnings of Sassaninian dynasty, alternatively Sassaninian or Sassanid, are found in the southwestern or Persian states of Pars. And the modern name is Fars, but sometimes in the first decade of the 3rd century CE, the king by the name of Papka seized the throne of Pars. After unifying the region and under his command, Papka waged war against the central Parthian government, but died before the conflict was resolved. Papka's son, Ardashir, inherited the throne in 216 CE, continued the Parthians and campaigned against the Parthian Empire. Note many spellings of the king's name. Here he is right here. Chief Relief. Yeah, here you go. King Darius and them guys. Historically, Sasanian period marks the end of the ancient beginnings of medieval era in the city of the Middle East by the beginning of the 3rd century CE. Universalistic religions such as Christianity and the Manichaeism and even Zoroastrianism and Judaism had by now absorbed logical religious and cults. Both Sasanian and the Roman empires adopted all official states of religion. Zoroastrianism for the Sasanians and the Christianity for the Romans. Catholicism. But the new Sasanian rules were not as tolerant religiously, and I'll say soliloquy. Okay, soliloquids and the Parthians had been, and religious persecutions did occur under the Sasanian rule. It appears that the religious communities other than Zoroastrians had extra taxes imposed on them from time to time. But this was especially the true of the growing Christian community, particularly in the time of the King Sapar II. After Christianity had became the official uh, religion of the Roman Empire, but the religious communities now became fixed under Sasanians and Mesopotamia, with the large Hebrew and Christian populations, experienced great changes because of the shift in primary allegiance from the king into the herd of religious groups. Thus, the patriarch of the Hebrews had legal and tax collecting authorities over the Hebrews of Sasanian Empire, particularly objects persecutions of Sasanians were Manian, founder of Mancunian religion. He was born in Sumer, and his religion spread quickly both the rest and the west before his death. Religion had came under severe persecution among the priests of the Zoroastrian religion. The view of Mancunian and as dangerous hearsay. Christianity, however, was viewed not a hearsay, but as separate religion. I will say, thus Christianity was well tolerated until it began the official religion and the enemy of the Roman Empire, and Christians were regarded a potential traitors to be the Sasanian state. Okay, here's your history of these guys right here. It's the king, his identity, and his rock related Abdelsiar. Yeah, we got kings of that all day. Kai Jones. You gonna play with that boy. After Ardashir's first king, since the king has consolidated his positions in Persia, he moved into the southern Mesopotamian city of Mesene, submitted in 224 CE. He defeated the king. He defeated and killed the last Parthian ruler, Artabanus Artabanus V, after which Mesopotamia quickly fell before him. Sasanian became the main capital of the Sasanian Empire. As always, these Sasanian Persians went on a campaign of conquest. In about 238 CE, the Nice Nabisius, Matra, and Harion named under their control. Then Adadeshir died, and his son Shapur I became king. Here you go. Augustus, okay. Elder, yeah. Coin the shot part of second moment. Yeah. This is your guys right here. Bronze of Parthenian Prince. Sketching, sorry, yeah. Oh, my head is swirling. Head is swirling. My head's swirling. It's the last one, and we're done. Ooh, 2 hours. I'm about to fall asleep, y'all. I've been tired. Back-to-back streams. This is so easy. And I'll give you the last one. Hold on. If y'all in a hurry. So copy. I'm gonna show you what I'm reading. Paste. Oh. 20th pick is here. The end of Elam in Persia. Had ascended and are making war against Rome. That didn't go well. Oh. Continued about 560 CE. New people to Gok Turks, Central Asia, have emerged in the nations in the east of Khosrow. The first was the king of Persia. He negotiated alliance with the Turkish leader called Senjubu. With this alliance, Khosrow was able to inflict a decisive defeat. The troublesome Thalites, after which a convent confronted the Turks, and the empire was established in the area of Afghanistan. Blah, blah. Agreed with the most good behavior. The Turks and rolled. Yeah, you don't read all that. And the Turkish wives. Yeah, I just put them in the links and let you see the pictures of them. Plus, Sensitive the king. He's a forward. A Duke. Coach K gonna be proud. The Hawks gonna be dangerous. Yeah, man. There's certain guards Yeah, man. That's power. My head is knocking. I'll get over it. That's him again. It is a war. Oh. As King Khosrow I laid the foundation of many cities of opulent palaces, oversaw the repair of the trades and the roads, as well building the numerous of bridges and dams. During the Khosrows reign of art and science had flourished in Persia, and the Sassanid Empire reached its peak of glory and prosperity. With the death of Khosrows first in 579, and his son Harsamizid IV came to the throne. Harsamid killed off his brother to prevent challenge from his father. Harsamid had inherited a war against the Byzantine Empire and was and a war against the Turks in the east. Negotiations of the peace had just begun with the Roman Emperor Tiberius II, but Harmonius IV declined to cede anything of the conquest made by his father. So, spite of for repeating negotiations, he failed to reestablish peace between Byzantium and Persia. Fighting occurred intermittently throughout his reign. During his reign, Harmez antagonized the Zoroastrian clergy by failing to take action against the Christians who the Zoroastrian clergy felt threatened by. Yeah, that religion died a long time ago. It still exists though. Sasanian played a part of second hunting. Eventually homicide. Okay, who's this? Eventually, Han says the forced behavior became unstable, calling the rebellion of both Persian nobles, clergy, and his popular Parthian general Bathrain Kuban, who had recently defeated the Turks in the east and the Romans in the west. The Persian elites deposed the blinded Harmonius IV and proclaimed his son Khosrow II, but by now Bahrams was on his way to Persia in a large army to place himself on the throne. Simultaneously, another pretender, Prince Bestium, decided to try his luck. To Khosrow II's forces were defeated. He was forced to acquiesce Bakhtarin's Chubin. Thereafter, he fled to Byzantium. Bakhtarin Chubin sat on the Persian throne as Bahrams the Sixth for 1 year, 590 to 591 BCE. I won't say that. Here goes your boy. Against the advised Senate, Rome, Maurice assisted Khosrow II to regain his throne in 591 BCE. The combined the Roman Persian, I mean CE, probably. Yeah, I think it's C. My fault. C. And then the common Roman Persian and army defeated Valerian's Copenhagen Gonzague at the Battle of Balarathon. The victory was decisive, and the Maurice finally brought the Persian Wars to a successful conclusion by means of the new accession of Carlos II. So Carlos married the eldest daughter, Miriam, and was probably adopted by the Emperor. Marshal II further rewarded Maurice by ceding to him Western Armenia and up to the lakes, Van 7, including the large cities of Marty, Raropolis, Tarakanakret, Annie and Yervan and Mari's treaty, and with his new son-in-law in the large Byzantium to extend before he reached Keon Johnson. He's a guard. They got a guard. Bahrain's Chauvin fled to the Turks and was later killed. Prince Bastian held out in Median until 596 CE. His coin, of course, was second. Here's your boy right here. That's what he looked like. Sentiment Persians. Yeah, C. This is C. This is C at the top. Yeah, the emperor. Things change. Crossroad the second, the letter. Y'all can read that. I'm just showing y'all pictures. I'm kind of drained right now. Yeah, Sasanian. Yeah, I talked about this in my pre-record. Here's the Arabs. At about 570 CE, the Himyarites of Yemen, who have been subdued by the Ethiopians, Axum and Khosrow first for the help for the Emperor Khosrow, and commanded Bashkirs and massacred the Ethiopian ruler of Yemen. In the battle, killed him. Abar Jafar, Muhammad Yapin Jafar, 838, 923. The Persian historian theologian reports that the main reason behind the victory of Vasquez over the Axioms was the use of the Pandion, probably a catapult, a military technology which located people who were unfamiliar. Took so the people, the Arabs, I'm not gonna get into that. Turks and all that. We already know what happens, Orthodoxum and all that. So this is it with Persia. I ain't gonna get into it. As you can see here, I already did Elam. I'll do this the next time, the next month. This has been a good stream, so you know how it is. Yeah, it's been 2 hours, and yeah, I'm just saying, like, this is one of the reasons I did this, like, you know, just study here. So I put the links in here and just see what's going on and you know, the history and things like that nature. So yeah, y'all can enjoy this and whatever. So yeah, I'm just over here just chilling, man. What's going on, RPA? What's going on, man? Salute. And you know, people doing their thing because I know they watching Nate right now and things like that. I'm gonna watch this draft. And this draft is kind of crazy. But you know, me with y'all chilling, so you know, it's 10:23 and things like that, you know. And it's a good conversation, so whatever. So, you know, it's a 2 hour stream and things like that nature. So, you know what I'm saying? And you know, good media is here. 2 hours. What's going on, man? What's going on? Let's see. Yeah, good media is here. Okay, you must be new. Yeah, I've been on here for 2 hours, man. Like, yeah, I've been doing this for a lot. So, yeah, I was talking about the Elamite history, just a little dark history, and getting into it. So, you know, on this website, you know, realhistory.com. I already put the links in the chat. So, yeah, man, I'm just in here, the 2 hour mark, because more my time constraints is 4 hours, so I'm good. So, I'm gonna watch this draft. So, but tomorrow's stream will be about, what should I say, be an independent thinker and things like that. I know people are gonna come in, but tonight, everybody's distracted Thursday. So this one is just a little history that I'm just gonna throw out, this little history stream. So, it's usually not I think this usually not open panel because I know people ain't gonna show up, but that's cool. But yeah, man, I'm just gonna sit here and talk to y'all. I mean, the ones that came through, shouts out to Third Ward Colombian, Michael Petrot the fourth. What's going on, Mike? Sheed, asked for $40, aka Irv Gotti, RPA, and the new guy, his name is Good Media, is here. And he said, I've been to that website a few times and there's some very solid historical reference on that site. It is, my man, the guy that created the website, I think he's a black scholar, and they're still digging up stuff, man. They've been doing this for years. I've been on this site since like 9 years, almost a decade, and they're still looking for findings and stuff. They're trying to he's trying to have his own thing. I mean, Tariq and them guys, they studied from this guy or whatever. So there's people talk about this floating around. So I've been teaching this stuff almost a decade, so it ain't nothing new. That's what my channel's almost based on, just get pieces of what's information out there, how cultures are. I talk about a lot of different things. They talk about Asia culture, the Olmecs. People love these topics. It's just a little history now and then. I did pre-recorders on these for years. So this is nothing new. This ain't my first rodeo. So, I like talking about it. So, what's going on, Degenerate? What's going on, man? Salute. A personal IG. Do I have an IG? No, I don't have one. I'm good. I'm good, dog. Yeah, not with this name, but no. I'm good. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it's just a little history going on. And let's see, good media. Andrew is a moderator. But yeah, man, I was just talking about a little Persian history. So I talked about everything enough on Elam and talk about modern Persian Iran, but I will talk about Israel and Palestine and talk about Canaan and Phoenicia. I'll do that probably next month. I might have to set a stream up on August. I don't know what day. I'll pick a day to do it. But yeah, August is gonna be fun. This month it's about done. So I'll make a separate stream with this by itself. It's only 6 things to read. It's actually 7. I already did the first part. I'll get the introduction. It's gonna be in parts. I might have to do a part 2 series of the same thing because it's so long. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll get into the rest of it. Do a part 2 series. So it'll be the other one's gonna be short because I know how long it is. Because the next one's gonna be longer. I might make a 2-part series of it because it's a lot of reading, a lot of links. That's gonna be in August. I don't know what day. I'm gonna set it up. Probably do it on the weekend. We'll see. Because August 1st is something else. I'll pick a day, do a 2-part series, and and just break it down. Get the meat of it. Because that's gonna be a series to deal with. Yeah, I just did the Elam and things like that nature, so I'm pretty good, Let's see. Have you done any research on the original Germans? I have in my pre-records. I think the I think the Moors. I did some the Moors of Germany. I already did that. I might have to do that one next month. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna revisit it. See what they're talking about. It's gonna be a whole nother stream on that. I'm gonna have to really break that down and read it because I'm just in it. I'm just in it for a while. Yeah, this is like an hour or two, but but this one is just like a historical stream. So I'm pretty good, man. Like, yeah, man. I've been doing this for like a long time. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But let's see what's going on here because everybody's live right now, and my boy Rashawn's on. Oh God. Oh. 22nd pick. Watching the draft and shit. Oh wow. Yeah, embrace being an independent thinker. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow because I did 3 streams straight. I'm gonna take a break this weekend because Saturday's gonna be hot as hell in Georgia. I'll be all right, man. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, man, like I appreciate y'all coming through, man. Like this stuff, yeah. Let me see. Let me see in my profile that I got. Sacred Drift. One of my top videos. I want to see what's going on. I did one with Moors of Germany. Where's the one with Moors of Germany? Moors of Germany. Yeah, I did a pre-record on that, bro. So I'm doing pretty good over here. So my boy Rashawn's on. So yeah. So he said, "Did I did any research on the original?" Yeah, that's his old comment. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to wrap this up. Appreciate everybody coming through. I shout out everybody on the top. So Gold Media, Good Media is here. Okay, cool. Appreciate you for stopping by. If he's a newcomer, Degenerate, what's going on, man? Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm about to close this out. Like I've done said enough already with the historical fact of Elam, and shouts out to the brother for creating that website. I've been doing it for years and learning about the stuff and share with you as content and show you there's proof. They're still digging and adding stuff to the history before it's lost. That's what I meant last night, the last stream, about a lot of stuff to learn and about what's going on in the world and what's important. And I'm just here. I'm just here to stay. So yeah. This is like the Elam, the dark history. I done said enough. So yeah. So with that, I'm gonna go out and peace and shalom.